George Russell is not standing in anyone's shadow. Instead, he is speaking up more and more. As chairman of the Drivers' Association, he has been quite vocal on the stewards' decisions earlier this year. And last weekend he spoke up even while he was driving during the French Grand Prix, as he was screaming for justice. But what is justice then? In lap 42 of the French Grand Prix, George Russell tried a very ambitious overtake on Sergio Perez. Up until that point he had been quite a bit quicker and he sensed an opportunity. The move appeared to come as a surprise to Perez, who was already turning into the corner. Now it's quite to see this exactly, but it seems that as Perez turns into the apex of the corner, the Mercedes front wheel seems to touch the side of the air intake of the Red Bull. With half a car suddenly next to him, Perez takes out his Mexican Minister of Defense uniform, bails out and cuts the next corner. Russell immediately gets on the radio asking for a penalty. And interestingly, it is Toto Wolff who then comes on the radio telling George basically to just shut up and keep on racing, which I love. But the young Briton keeps on complaining, and even after he cunningly overtakes Perez a bit later, he couldn't stop but tell the TV cameras he was right. Perez, on the other hand, obviously thought he was right as well. He told everyone, "If I didn't cut the corner, we'd have retired both cars. I was ahead and he was out of control, so I had to escape. If I didn't cut the chicane, there would have been contact." And he's probably right. After last year's controversies, and no, we're not going into that again, the FIA changed the rules in what I called last week something nobody understands anymore. To put it more factually, the FIA says that if a driver is overtaking on the inside of a corner, they must have a significant portion of the car alongside to be given space, and one criteria is whether the front tires are alongside the other car by no later than the apex of the corner. Well, there's obviously a problem here, or rather two. Now, first of all, is the Mercedes front wheel really next to that of the Red Bull? I don't know. And secondly, what in hell is significant? Reading the rules Russell's way, you could just dive bomb your car next to another and then claim the right to a corner. Now that can't be a decent rule except for that good old game destruction derby, now is it? The stewards first noted the incident and then quickly decided that there was no investigation necessary. Pretty much like the stewards decided at last year's controversial season finale, when Verstappen actually passed Hamilton before the latter took evasive action, cut the corner and kept his position. Oh, stop this! I don't want to talk about it anymore! Back to Russell, who is head of the Drivers' Association and a very smart guy and definitely a very analytical driver. So yes, he does have a point in this one. Now here comes the real problem. These rules are impossible to enforce. Things go so quick on such small margins and we all see things differently. The way the rules are written down now make them hard to enforce. And there are plenty of purists out there who already have seen this, including the biggest of all, Fernando Alonso. We don't want the sort of racing these rules encourages, and we don't want the wording to dictate who has won. This incident itself is a perfect example of how the FIA is completely confusing itself with its own mind-boggling rules. Now let me use an infamous quote used by a long-gone race director. We went car racing. It's called a motor race. And I really enjoyed to hear Toto Wolff on the radio telling Russell, "George, keep your head down. We are hunting him down." Everyone with a well-calibrated set of eyes in their heads saw the same. Russell was racing hard and the move didn't work out. Like even Mercedes test driver Nick de Vries said after the race, it was ambitious. And my sincere hope is that we're gonna see much more of this racing and much less whining. I think the racers did well with their interpretation of the rules, but I also do think Russell would have been right if the rules were read differently. Now, I hate to say I told you so, but last week I stood here discussing why the rules don't work. To put it in simple words, inconsistency is inherent in sports battled on the edge, which is why it will never be possible to have rigid rules. There will always be some flexibility. Now, the stewards have noted this, which is a good thing, but when will the FIA wave a black and white flag to the rules themselves?